Joseph Organic Attraction here on this channel. I discuss cold approach, relationships, women, men and women, interpersonal dynamics. And we are talking really for the benefit of men on this channel. So are you a guy who just struggles in this area of life? Everything seems to be in place, but you can't seem to quite get things together. You can't seem to quite make the right move at the right time. You know what to do, you just can't pull the trigger. Is this you? Do you find yourself wishing and wanting and hoping and praying, and then when you get the chances, you just don't seem to be able to make the right move? Is this you? Or are you inexperienced? Or are you coming out of a divorce? What's your scenario? Yeah? What is the scenario? What's the scenario? So, yeah, a lot of people find they almost get into a state of despair, actually, when year in, year out, they can't solve this problem. It kind of becomes like a burden, like a bloody albatross around them. And actually, this problem is eminently solvable. It's actually one of the easier problems to solve, believe it or not. It really is. It's one of the easier problems to solve. There are much trickier problems to solve than this one, than women. Fortunately, women are biologically programmed to be attracted to men. Yeah. So this is an easier problem to solve than you would think. So do not despair. Uncle Joseph is here. We're going to go through some themes today. And the theme I wanted to start off with was sexual shame for men. Sexual shame in men. Is this the very thing that is holding you back, unbeknownst to you? Do you feel a weird sense that if you go and approach the girl, you're doing something wrong? You're not supposed to. And it's not even a rational thought, it's more at the level of a feeling. Yeah? That is heterosexual shame. You're actually afraid and ashamed to be your natural biological self. Oh my goodness, what kind of a freak would feel such a thing? Well, I did, and I still feel it now sometimes. In fact, today, just walking today, there's a girl on the phone, and it was getting dark. I wasn't going out to approach her anyway. I was going to the supermarket, but she was worth an approach. And the thoughts that started to spin in my mind were bullshit thoughts. So I am no different to anybody else. If that was my approach day, I would have gone after her. And so, but tonight I was just like, genuinely most of the time in the week, I have an option to approach. At the moment, I'm not. Because I've just got so much work on. If I go out, it's literally just to run an errand or to go to the gym. So that's why I like to dedicate set days, Saturday and often Sunday as well. So Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, bang, bang, get my approaches done then, get my contacts in, whatever then. So that's actually one reason for very driven, task-focused men. Cold approach can be very good because it's very time effective. And then in the rest of the week, you can focus on what you need to focus on. So for me at the moment, I'm very, very task orientated. So like, yeah, going to do freestyle approaches here and there. I'm not a student, man. I'm 39 years old. I've got a lot of shit. I've got a lot of shit to do. So I like to do it in an efficient way at the weekends. But that sexual shame, that heterosexual shame, that came up for me just this evening. And that's why I titled it. I thought, wow, that's still there. That is interesting. It sort of comes and goes. The more active I am, the more out there I am, the more normal everything is. But I think in the West, it's something that's been pushed onto men. You should be ashamed. There's a fundamental disdain towards men, actually, amongst middle class, basically older middle class women and in the Western world, who seem to poison the culture a little bit. It's filtered down onto the young, impressionable women, and it's made everybody's lives a lot harder. It's mainly a middle class thing. Working classes doesn't really affect, but it's made everyone's life a lot harder in Western Europe. In the Balkans, I can see actually the guys are very solid, but they're not very expressive at all. they don't really express much intent at all. I've not seen any guys really macking in a way that I thought was good. I've seen a few of them. It's just, just standard. Just I can observe the gym bullshit going on, like the personal trainers. There's like one very fit girl there. She's kind of like the queen bee who everyone fancies, including me. Um, and you've got all the personal trainers just, skulking up to her and everything. But it's all there's not that much approach going on, actually, from what I can see. Um, as compared to like Latin America, for example, there's way more of a dynamic between the sexes, incomparably more. Here it's very unspoken. It's kind of like sub communication and stuff like that. So it's a different thing, even though I do really enjoy it here. Um, I actually think the Balkans, in a way, could be quite untapped for cold approach because um, if you are able to get into longer conversations, make a bit of a connection, it's very surprising to them to be approached. And maybe it's a bit low trust, maybe they don't really trust it, but I've had a lot of girls who were just totally in shock to receive a compliment, which I don't really get in Western Europe, certainly not in Latin America. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'll just briefly go over my last weekend's. I think this was a Saturday session. I think I did. Maybe I did no, I did both. I did Saturday and Sunday, just short ones, and I found that I created a little innovation. There's a little innovation because I realized these girls in Macedonia, they can't actually take a cold approach. They don't know what to do, even though they really enjoy the compliment and they actually like it being approached by a guy in the mall. So what I realized is you're gonna have to take them the whole way through, from start to finish. They're never gonna start to come back at you with stuff. They're gonna just stand like, what do you want me to do next? So you're gonna have to take them the whole way through. And then I applied that on the Sunday, and it was funny because I got like one girl completely blanked me. She was like eyeing me up before, and I thought, oh, I'll definitely talk to her. And she completely blanked me, but I got closer, realized she was with her mum, and then about 40 meters later, met another girl, same approach. This time took her through the whole thing, and even on like getting her contacts and stuff, it was like she was like, "Why?" I was like, "Well, I've got to go. You look very good. I just want to get your So it was. It's just funny. Like in some countries, a girl would never ask you why you want to hear details. It's like you're hot. What do you want me to say? But it's quite sweet, to be honest with you. It's quite sweet. So yes, that's a bit of an innovation there. But just to come back to my original point, like the Balkan guys, they're not ashamed of being men or anything, but they're not that active in the approach. They're not that active in the approach from what I can see, certainly not in the day. I've not done enough nighttime at all out here, so I don't really know. But I think that's part of the culture. It's like people get married, have families and stuff like that, and it's more low key. I think that's what most people are doing. They're cool guys, they're getting girlfriends, getting married. That's absolutely great. Not everyone needs to be a marauding cold approach pirate, so that's fine. But yeah, let's talk about this sexual shame. Where does it come from? I think it affects a lot of men. I can actually see it in other men when they're approaching. I can see that they're not really there in the approach. They're kind of like feel ashamed of themselves. They question what they're doing. They're not sure if they feel on some level what they're doing is wrong. So I'm here to share the good news, the good news gospel. It is absolutely right. If you're a single heterosexual man, it's absolutely right for you to go over to the girl and pay her a compliment, chat to her, chat her up, sweep her off her feet. That is absolutely right. That is correct. It's the correct line of behavior. It's what you should do. It's what you must do, in fact. Yeah, the species will not propagate for very long if we're relying on an algorithm. And men who are passive, you're basically handing over the sexual marketplace to women's, ill-conceived prejudices. Basically, you're just handing it over to them. When you approach, you bring something out of them that they didn't even know was there, right? you bring femininity out of them that they didn't know was there. When you're passive, you're literally expecting them to take the role of the man, right? So they're going after whatever they're going after. Yeah, so this is what the whole Tinder thing has done. Men get caught up on things like, you know, this, that, and the other. They're fucking looks maxing and all this type of stuff on Tinder. And yeah, looks maxing on Tinder, and they're fundamentally falling into like the frame of a woman, basically. You need to be active. Yeah, if men want to take control of their dating lives and actually of the whole dating marketplace, we need to be active, right? And then women, they play their role, like it's not, and control it. We move, and they respond, or they don't respond. Yeah, but when we're passive, we're literally expecting them to turn into men. Yeah, it's ugly to watch. Actually, it's ugly to watch. I think it's a delusional thing for women as well, because like, yeah, you're not going to get rejected, are you? You throw your body at a man, it's not going to, like most men aren't going to reject you. If they're under the age of 30, they're going to shack you. So it's just like they get false positives with it as well. Like, oh, these guys, they seem to like me. It's like, well, did they approach you? No, I approached them. Well, exactly. So, yeah, that's not to say women can never initiate. Sometimes they do, but you want to be the man. Let's just be honest. You want to initiate. So it's correct. It's absolutely correct. That sexual shame, where it comes from, it's kind of culture based. Keep men like, keep them all fucking wrapped up and weak and pathetic. Don't let them actually experience anything in life. This is why approach and game is actually like, it's actually a big fuck you to society. It shouldn't be, but it actually is. It actually is. So I think it does imbue men with like a piratical spirit in general, once they start to get into this. And we've got Balthus in here tonight, getting almost their massive progress so far. So yeah, he's embracing his inner approach demon, but he's also embracing a more general, massive lifestyle change from, what was it, 6-7 months ago, Balthus, you came in? Not even that, 4-5 months ago? Complete 180. Yeah, but your complete 180, dude. Your progress is like, as a young man, is fucking ridiculous. In 4 months, you've probably made more progress than you have, I would guess, in the last 4, maybe 10 years. In 4-5 months, like massive success on the approach. Then started to take, just be a bit more no fucks given at work. Then got a new remote job. Now is getting an even better remote job. Like, it's superb, man. It's superb. Oh, we've got Rich in here as well. Yeah. Oh, 1 year. Okay, fair enough. When did you do your immersion, Balthus? I feel like it was in the summer, wasn't it? Well, maybe I'm wrong. Grind gang. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Richie. I'm on the absolute fucking grind at the moment. Just brutal. I'm going to talk about that later in the live. Kind of cold approach burnout. Because it's like you're on the brink of work burnout, and then what do you do on a Saturday? Oh, I'll go and do something probably even harder than my work. Solo cold approach in the Balkans. Enjoy that one, mate. Yeah. So the immersion was in June. Yeah, and then since the immersion, you've gone from strength to strength. So yeah, this sexual shame thing. Where does it come from? It is basically like, women are being encouraged with all of their, like, to express all of their sexuality and all this type of thing. But it's actually very inconvenient for women if men start expressing their sexuality. Because it's like, oh, this is an uncontrolled beast, isn't it? Fucking hell. It's bigger than me, it's stronger than me. Probably better problems. Oh my God. We don't want, no, you need to get back in your cage. Yeah? So it's a bit of a problem for them, but obviously we're going to approach in a normal, civilized way. But yeah, I don't know if there's is there anything else? Maybe it's teaching as well. Like in schools and stuff, most of the teachers are women. It's a sort of very feminized type of environment for a lot of younger men. I don't know where it's all coming from. It's obviously there's a lot of man hating in the media. We all know what's going on, right? It's fucking obvious, right? But at the end of the day, we win in the end. It's stupid because we win anyway in the end because men can just go, well, we'll wait it out, and men just play the long game and then they win anyway. So we can always win. Um, yeah, but yeah, that not being able to approach and feeling something is wrong about you for approaching, that's a hard feeling to shake. It's a hard feeling to shake, and it can come back at any point. And the trick is just to actually batter your way through it. Um, I find sessions are the best for that. Sessions are the best for that. When I go out with that burning intent. Um, what I'm struggling with at the moment is that I find that I'm actually seeing a lot of good opportunities in the week where my head is elsewhere. And I really struggle to pull myself out of work mode, thinking mode. And even if it's not work, it's like, it's not my actual day-to-day work. It might be something else like, okay, how am I positioning for next year? How am I positioning for September? How am I positioning for June? And I'm walking around and I'm going through things in my mind. I'm taking notepads out. I'm doing this, that, and the other. And then to suddenly go from that into an approach when I see a babe go past, it's just kind of like, oh, my brain, I can't even compute. I want that, but I feel like I can't even talk. I've gone into autism mode, yeah. So it definitely happens. It's just one of those things, right? It's just one of those things. Unless you're like my mate, a rock star, where your work is literally to be a performing sex symbol at all times. Most men who've got jobs which require high levels of cognition, it is hard to get out of that. So I think sessions are great. I think going out with your mates on a Friday night, boom, go hit it. Saturday, go do a session, go get a coffee with your mates after that. Then Sunday, go and see the family or something. That was kind of always my routine. Friday night, boom, and then actually Saturday night as well, and then Sunday night as well. That was my routine. Yeah. So let's have a look at some comments here. There's no male role models. Good point. Good point. Um, you've got to look back to guys like Harrison Ford and you know all these types. They're almost like ridiculed, aren't they? It's quite sad, really. But look, we know what's going on with it all. We know what's going on. I I have no part of that civilization anymore, to be honest with you. The Western civilization. I no longer participate in it. Um, not interested. Not interested. I mean, it could improve with old Orange Man. Could improve. The environment could improve. It seems like there's some signals from the USA that the old cowboy mentality is going to come back a little bit. Yeah, obviously it's all going to be corrupt, it's all going to be bullshit, but at least there'll be something there that's worth like they could lead in that. But the rest of the world stays traditional. African men, Latin men are Latin men, Slavic men. I've just said they don't really approach that much, but they're definitely like they're still fucking blokes, aren't they? Um, so yeah, it's interesting. What would be the male role models of today? Well, the male influencers, and this is why the big man Tate he obviously did well because of he offered something very different. We were talking in the group about how some of these kids are like 19, they think they're the next fucking Andrew Tate, and I said, well, I actually think that's not a bad thing. And Richie said it was uncalibrated, which I definitely agree with. But if it's either that or they're walking around in a fucking dress, which actually those almost are the options now. I'd rather that they start to go in that direction. They can calibrate later on, yeah. So that's interesting. But yeah, no role models. Yeah, who have we got? Peterson. Yeah, he's all right. He's a bit of a Ned Flanders, isn't he? Really, Jordan Peterson. You know, but I think he made some really good points. But his overall persona. Um, I just look at like there's people I admire all over the world, politicians. I look at all the real fucking operators. Um, yeah, I like Millet, Bukele. Some other people as well who shall not be named. I actually like. Um, yeah, the world of sport, the world of professional fighting. Look at men from the past. I take a lot of inspiration from the past. At the end of the day, it's on us. It's in our DNA. It's in our DNA. Rishi, I would have got approaching, but my brain is cooked. I was working 16 hours a day. I'm more autistic than Musk now. He's heavy, and he's a heavy autist, Musk. This should inspire us all because he does pretty well with women. And I know he's a billionaire, but I think he would have done pretty well even if he was just not that rich. If he was like fairly rich, I think he'd have still done quite well. Um, South Africans don't fuck around, man. They're proper men. South Africans, like that's a proper, you know, living on the ranch and all that type of thing, shooting antelope. Fucking fight. They have like the main fights and stuff that were going on there was like the French Huguenots fighting with the fucking Dutch, battering each other. Um, as a middle-aged woman listening to this, I feel like a voyeur. I mean, that's honestly, love. You can watch if you want, but I couldn't care less about, you know. This is not your channel, love. So you can watch if you want. But yeah. A session will get you back on social track, even autist mode. Yeah, get back on a session, bro. Yeah, get back on a session. But if you need to I just actually probably kick her out, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'll just hide her. I misspelled heterosexual. Fair point. Yeah, fair point. I think I did. Oh well. I think it was like hetero, and then yeah. What else have we got? Yeah. So this is what I got on sessions. Get yourself out of autist mode because you can't just jump in and out of that shit. It's very fucking difficult. I mean, I remember Richie when you were doing your absolute rampage in Stockholm. That really inspired me when I was in Belgrade, and I started to go out on a couple of days daytime, and I found it, and I did well actually. But I found it a bitch to then go back to work, and I was like, I get back, I'm like, oh my god, I've now got to do 4 or 5 hours of fucking mind-numbing stuff. I found it hard to get back in. Yeah, LP is good. The LP is good. I actually find my life, whenever I'm doing the LP every day, my life is good, actually. And when I start to let it slide, that's when I will start to get a little bit, you know, whatever. Things don't feel as good. So yeah, so that was sexual shame with cold approach and you know, male sexual shame. Is there anything else? Yeah, feeling ashamed of your desires. I mean, this is interesting. Feeling ashamed of your desires. I sometimes feel like this is why going to the gym actually is a bit of a head fuck because I'm like, I go to the gym, I genuinely just want to work out. I actually don't want to see women in spandex in the fucking gym. But when I see them, honestly, my instinctive, honest response is, I want to come and just bend you over in the gym, just spank your ass, whatever. That's every man's response, yeah? This is what women don't actually understand. If you're hot and you're there like in lycra with your ass bouncing all over the place, a man is just going to see you as a pure sex, you know, pure sexual being, yeah? So, but I don't actually want to be in that space when I'm in the gym. I actually just want to fucking work out. So it's a weird space for me that I admire the guys who can just cruise in and cruise. They cruise in, they flirt around and stuff. That's not me, brother. I'm task focused. When I work out so hard, I need to focus everything on it. My ideal gym is an empty gym, or maybe just a few guys in there, to be honest with you, and then just. I mean, it's nice to see girls, I suppose, but I actually find it a little bit distracting. I'd probably rather not have it. A vid from Todd V about Stockholm. Todd V is an absolute fucking cock. I'm sorry. What the fuck? It's amazing, isn't it, these guys? American boys want to lead with the money, and it backfired. Yeah. Well, Richie, you know all about Stockholm, man. The fucking... You were the Stockholm Sicario while I was going around as the Beast of Belgrade, bruv. I was fucking hitting those streets. I can't wait until we get together, man. I can't wait till we start getting together. Because we're dangerous alone, man. Okay. Yes. Let me go on to this. Social conditioning is now worse due to the internet. If you're just out in the day-to-day world, right, the social conditioning isn't that bad. It's not that bad. It's the fucking internet, okay, all of the losers and the fucking Maoists on the internet that basically colonized the internet, people who wouldn't even speak up in real life because they're too fucking weak. Yeah, they're colonized the internet, right? These oversensitive, mentally ill people. So that's like most of the internet. As Richie found this week, all these people on Reddit saying, "Oh, you can't buy a flat in Stockholm if you're a foreigner, blah blah blah. You'll never get a loan." All this bullshit. Richie goes in, bang, 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 knocking on all the doors, bang, 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 bang. I'm Richie, bruv. Yeah, I'm here. I'm buying a house. Yeah, Valhalla. Yeah, yeah. He gets it done. He gets it done. It was all the fucking idiots on the internet. They're all reinforcing each other's weakness, right? Most stuff on the internet, apart from a few channels such as mine, such as Christians, okay, there's probably a few hundred, right? But most of it's promoting weakness. It's promoting weakness. And I will give you a quote from this week from a new acquaintance of mine, Alexander, who is a Macedonian dude, Macedonian G, who he lived in Holland for a while, but now he's back in Macedonia. And he was talking to me about his family life and stuff growing up, and he's like, "Look, yes, I like my family. Sometimes I think they give me trauma or something." And then he's like, "No," and I said, "This is bullshit, man. There is no trauma. There is just real guy and pussy guy." Right? This is Alexander's life coaching, right? I'm giving you here. I'm relaying the gold. I was just like, yeah, I agree, to be honest with you. I agree. You can't do anything about the past. So all this fucking bullshit. Yeah, you might go and see a psychotherapist, whatever, but you still need to crack on regardless. And there's so much weakness on the internet. It's fucking fraught. There was even a guy in the entourage who was, like moaning about something he read in Reddit, and he's like spreading it around the group and stuff. Like, I didn't appreciate that, to be honest with you. It wasn't you, Richie. I don't know if he's still in or not. I can't remember. But I think we shouldn't be spreading fear. Like, it's ridiculous. Should be spreading positivity, dynamism, action. This is what we need to be spreading, right? Yeah, but no one I've got it written down here, it's an invitation to become a pussy. No one is going to stop you. The internet's just going to encourage you more and more. What's your trauma? Take this quiz. WhatsApp, Instagram. What kind of trauma do you have? How do you heal your trauma? Take this quiz. It's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. Most of it's bullshit. And everyone's become a fucking psychotherapist now. Everyone out there who's become a psychotherapist. Literally everyone. Yeah, everyone's an amateur psychologist. It's fucking hilarious. Even like kids and stuff now, it's fucking ridiculous. That's despite the fact cocaine heals most traumas. That's despite the fact psychotherapy is not a particularly successful profession as a whole. In comparison to, say, architecture or something, it's not got great results really at actually doing what it was supposed to do. But it's not so much that profession. It's much more the internet. Yeah, and Freud was a fucking loser. Nietzsche was a better psychologist than Freud, and actually Freud stole a lot. I would say Freud stole about 60% of his best stuff from Nietzsche, and then he started all this stuff about fantasizing about his mom. That's just his own weird bullshit. Nietzsche was a much better psychologist. Male positive culture. Yeah, so cultures that are more male positive, like in America, I would say, for me, number one. I know that Africa is as well, although there is a bit of a matriarchal thing as well going on, the whole matrilineal thing as well, because a lot of the guys, that's a whole different thing. Yeah, I'll say Latin for me, number one. Balkans is kind of still male positive in a way. It's still male positive. It's almost like yin and yang. Latin America and the Balkans are like yin and yang. There's some similarity between the two, but there's massive differences in it. It's almost like, yeah. Obviously, the Islamic stuff, that's a different thing though, because I'm not even going to entertain that, to be honest with you. Yeah. But yeah, the Balkana guys, solid, but they're not that flirty. And I think that's where the Western guys, we can outperform them a little bit. We're a bit more flirty, right? Girls love a bit of the old flirtation. So we can outperform them in that respect. We can actually come in and swoop in and get the beautiful Balkana girl. Yeah. Girls always like want something a bit different as well to their local guys. You know, these guys from here, if they went over to England, they'd be seen as super exotic and exciting. Whereas when I come here, I'm a little bit of an exciting personality, interesting personality, you know. Um, so yeah, social conditioning, sexual shame, yeah, and just realizing that something, um, yeah, just realizing that nothing is wrong with you is perfectly normal. Saw a video yesterday about Balkan Reddit channel where Balkan kids were bantering each other standard, then American woke woman moderator showed it up. Yeah, wokeism. Most of leftism is basically middle-aged hags. American middle-aged hags who've got no sexual attractiveness, no sexual marketplace value. They're lonely, they're miserable, and what they want to do is come back and sort of take vengeance on the youth, particularly young men, but also young, beautiful women as well. They hate both of those things. Like a huge amount of the problems are just from middle-aged, stupid old bitches, which is a shame, man. Which is a shame. She didn't like gypsy jokes. Oh, mate, there's a gypsy camp, literally. I wonder if we can see it from. I wonder if you can see it. I mean, it's the irony as well. Americans don't even know what gypsies are. They don't have Roma in America. Yeah, it's across the way there. I'm going to do a video probably in a couple of weeks. I'm going to go past that. I'm going to do a video where I'm going to do going to go past the gypsy camp. Probably have to run away from literal stray gypsy dogs, and then go to the gun range, and then come do some approach. That'll be like my last video of Macedonia. Yeah. Yes, like we go to beat the gypsy. Yes, like throw gypsy in pond. We know, like it's just bullshit, man. They like they have their own thing here, man. Like they're very, I don't know, they're very much tolerated here in Macedonia. I mean, they get joked about, obviously. Like they fucking hang their carpets off the edge of the bridge to dry them. So like, so obviously, they're gonna get joked about. But yeah, Alexander was saying he respected the gypsies. He thought they had the best life because he's like they'll make $1 million from selling coke or something. They'll spend it all in 2 days just gambling, and then they won't even give a shit. He thought they were great. My new friend Alexander. Um, yeah, good people out here. I would probably raise a family out here. I would somewhere in the Balkans. I'd be happy to do that, and I'd want to just give them a little touch of the Western stuff as well, like the openness of the West, like the dynamism. I'd want to give them a little bit of that, but the roots I think are good here. It really reminds me of like growing up a little bit in Sheffield, and then also where my parents were from in Stoke as well. Macedonia just reminds me of that, like old, 90s in England. Like it's really fucking nice. Um, Old fashioned in exactly the way you want it to be old fashioned. Um, yeah, let's talk a little bit before we get on to approach burnout. I was thinking today about reframing problems, right? Of radical reframes of problems, and like let's say with dating, for example, this is a relationship channel. A radical reframe of dating. Whatever issues you have, they're basically a beautiful invitation for you to look at yourself and go, "Fuck, I've got an issue here." It's a beautiful opportunity to learn and to actually improve. So whatever problems you've got, it's really truly a blessing to find them out. As like, people have been finding in the entourage, including me. Yeah, I had blind spots I didn't even know about until I started to do cold approach. Yeah. And it's like, I would have never addressed them otherwise. So I think same with you, Richie, same with Balthus. Everyone's got these blind spots they wouldn't have known about if they'd not done something as crazy as daytime cold approach. Yeah. Nighttime, it can still expose you a bit, but daytime is on a different fucking level. So you can have a persona. You can, there's lots of miss your ex. You don't have better options. That's interesting. Yeah, reframing. Yeah. So in terms of dating progress, like I think it's always good, to be honest, to have that reframe of like, okay, or like, oh wow, I still actually care about rejection. That's funny. Well, these next 5 approaches, that's gonna help me to defeat that. Um, so yeah, so reframing things. And another thing as well, I think like the sometimes the issue is not the issue. So we look at the issue, like we look at it in its isolation, and we're actually not looking at what the context is. What is the context? Very often the context is the issue. Very often the context is the issue. So let me give you an example. We're out in Manchester, we're all having a laugh, we're approaching together. You go and do a ton of approaches, it's easy, it's fun, you don't even really notice you've done the approaches, right? As opposed to you go out solo alone in like fucking Sheffield, yeah, and it's a whole different experience. It's much less pleasant experience. It's a more difficult, grueling, and all this type of thing, right? The issue is not the issue. The issue is the context that is surrounding the approaches. We're talking about approach here. You could have the same thing in business. I was thinking about this. I was like, yeah, actually, that's another reframe. Is like, do I need to solve this, or do I actually need to look at the context? And very often, it's just the context. And if you just readjust the context, the rest will the stuff you thought was an issue will maybe just float away into just zero, right? Just be nothing. And I think with approach, one of the biggest issues is guys going out solo. I mean, it just makes everything, I would say honestly, 10 times harder. Yeah. Or at least when you're with people, it's 10 times easier, whichever way you look at it. So that's one reframe. There's also a geographical reframe as well, like situational reframe. So like what I'm doing now, it's good. But if I was doing this same exact stuff in a different place, even possibly in Belgrade, which is still Balkans, obviously, I'd probably be getting slightly better results, even compared to Macedonia. If I was doing it in Latin America, I'd definitely be getting better results. Yeah, obviously I'm not, bro. I don't hang out with losers, mate. So it doesn't depend who I'm with. So I don't hang out with losers. They do not get into my company. I will shun them with the most brutal bluntness. I don't have the time. So it's never depends who I'm with, to be honest. It's always, I mean, yeah, if I'm with, I think I've approached in front of my parents before when I went for coffee with them. So, um, yeah, you were with the dude who was shit. Um, yeah, I mean, this is why the entourage is good. This is why the entourage is good. Um, okay. Yeah, but you don't have a big enough social life, Richie. That's your problem, mate. That's one of your problems, to be honest. And the entourage is good, but you need to build one, which is what you're doing, to be fair. You're doing it. So this is what I'm talking about, context. That context, like that guy, if there's someone who's a weird guy or whatever, who's not, for me, honestly, they wouldn't even make it into my reality. They wouldn't get into the club because I only have enough. Even here now in Macedonia, I've got a few boys already here in Macedonia, just from 4 weeks here. If you go out, what I do is I go to the same places every day, and I build up myself in those places. So like I go to one coffee shop, and actually there's a Dutch guy, and so he introduces me to other people. Um, the gym, I haven't really cracked the gym. I need Christian's wing in the gym, whatever his name is. At night, I go to the same bar every night. So I go to these two spots every night. That even here in a place where I don't know anyone in a month, and there's no particular inn, I'm not going to any club. I'm starting to generate it. So if you get into the habit of, creating a social thing in London, you can really build it up, mate. You can really build it up. Um, yeah, mate. I mean, just get more friends, mate. Just get more friends. Yeah, just get more friends. But that's where like the issue could be. So, for example, I think I think Balthus was talking about something about it's like a reframe on location, and he's in Belgium, whatever. Your reframe there is just location. Is location. Reframe there is location. Um, so yeah, so the issue may not be us. Once you're putting your best foot forward consistently, the issue may not be the approaches anymore. It may just be your location. It may just be the fact you don't have wings and stuff. Imagine, let's say 5 people from the entourage. Imagine you put us all in one city. Let's say, I don't know, a city in Southern Europe. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, imagine if we lived together for a year. Imagine somewhere. That would actually be crazy. Imagine we all took a trip to Valhalla. Yeah, no time. Yeah, I get it, dude. I get it. I mean, this is why I incorporate it into my maybe you don't even have this much time at all, but again, that's a problem. If you're working 16 hours a day, something ain't right there, dude. um, yeah, my black mate loves Brussels and says there's hot women everywhere. Belfast and I went out twice, couldn't find much. I actually found in Belgium like the hottest girls were the African girls for me, but you're not into African girls, so yeah. Um, so it's ages since I went to Belgium though. Yeah, that part of Europe is just very cocked in my opinion. Like Brussels, like the fucking center of the EU, like you know the great cockinator of fucking Europe. Like, I mean, I can't think of anything fucking worse. Fuck that. Um, so yeah, so reframing, but also analyzing is the sticking point in the machine where I think it is, and it might not be. It might not be. It might be like, you know what? You actually just look like shit when you go out. Like maybe just, you know, don't dress in rags or something, or it could, it might not be the approach. It might be something else. Um, yeah. So the problem's sometimes not where you think it is. Same with relationships as well. Sometimes in relationships, you think the problem is the relationship. Actually, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's, hold on, am I clear on my life goals? No. Well, that's what's fucking up my relationship. Am I clear on where I want to live? Am I clear on what I want from a relationship? Do I have the right amount of money? Have I got actually the cash for this type of relationship? If you've been the daddy, yeah, if you got, not crazy, but you know what I mean. Like if you're completely broke, well, you're not going to have that relationship, are you? Um, Vibe, energy, climate, season, how women dress, location. Yeah, it just sucks, dude. It just sucks. You just gotta leave, bro. At the end of the day, you know what you've got to do. It's not sugarcoat it. You've got to leave. It's not an option. So just just accept that already. Give yourself 6 months, a year, whatever it is. And if I would say by September, you need to be out, bro. By September at the latest. Um, can you save up a stack while you're there? Can you save up like 5, 10 grand on top of your existing? Because if you've got a couple of K coming in, you've got a bit of a stack. Dude, if you get to €3,000 a month, you can live like a fucking king anywhere, basically. Yeah, you may not be able to live like in fucking Manhattan, but anywhere you want to live, you can live like a fucking king. Yeah, you can do it on 2 easily. You could maybe do it on 1 in some places, but I wouldn't really want to try. But yeah, if you can get to 3, mate, fucking hell, you'll be flying. Um, yeah, if the sales take off, 2 sales a month, there you go, then you're done. I would say France is pretty all right. Yeah, I'd say France is pretty all right. Yeah, I would agree. Um, the French are. I want to go to Southern to capitalize on country girls. Yeah, the big tit American girls. I'm in this weird point now where I'm genuinely at a point where like I don't even have the appetite that I used to have. But I think it's my friend the rock star is 46 and he's in 4 figures. He's actually ashamed of his sex life. Can you imagine being in 4 figures? Like, you actually imagine that the Rolodex in his mind. But he said he's now living with like an old Russian woman who's like she's a sugar mommy for him, and he just said he's like he shot his bolt. That's what he said to me. I've just shot my bolt, mate. I've got nothing. I've got nothing left. But then yeah, that guy is just off the chain. He's off the chain. Uh, but yeah, that's how I feel a little bit at the moment. So I've been going out almost for discipline reasons because I want to actually be able to, I want to be able to wing men in any situation. Like I can do nightlife no problem. I want to be able to do infields, live daytime wings in the daytime as well, even in scenarios which are very, very challenging. I want to be this all-weather, all-terrain beast who's like the guy in basically the guy in is it Pulp Fiction? The guy, the wolf, who's like, you just call this guy, this is the wolf. Yeah, we're fucked. I'm fucked, dude. I'm in the mall. I'm fucking just ordered McDonald's. I'm in tears. I bottled 7 approaches, yeah, and then I fell down. Call the wolf. The wolf will pull you out of this session. I will pull you through the session, and you'll be flying. So that's why I'm pushing myself into all these crazy fucking scenarios, like, you know, um, yeah, winging in the trenches. Exactly, exactly. I was thinking of taking. I'm going to take a couple. Well, maybe a couple more trips from before I get to the non-disclosed location around this region, just to almost complete like maybe one of the hardest places I would say in the world potentially to approach. I don't know. There's one more place around here which would probably be the hardest place in Europe, I would think, which I've not been to yet. So we'll see. We'll see if I get there or not. Um, but yeah, it almost feels like I put this past Christian a few times. It's like it's weird to approach when you truly don't even you don't even really want the girl that much. I just want to go, okay, can I get this girl's number? Can I get her Instagram? It starts to feels like almost narcissistic in a sense. I'm looking for the validation. I don't even really want to date her. I don't even have time to. But it's just kind of practice. Um, oh mate, it's done. It's done. We're doing lingerie shops. We're doing sex shop approaches. Oh mate, diamond. That's diamond. We're gonna do that. I can't wait. It'd just be fucking chaos. Yeah. Um, Resigned to Dutch girls. No interest. I met a bunch of Dutch people today in my coffee shop. The coffee shop owner's Dutch and he hates Dutch culture. He said he absolutely hated it. And I went, but he has obviously they're Dutch guys and stuff. So he has them on a Friday. Sometimes they all come round to his and they talk and stuff. So I went. I said, "Oh, let me come and say hello to them, whatever." But they are pretty stiff, aren't they? They're not exactly banter machines. I prefer Alexander, the fucking Macedonian G that I met yesterday. Um, yeah, had an interesting like business chat as well today with a guy out here. Um, yeah, there's good options out in this part of the world. There's good options out in this part of the world for remote workers. There's definitely options on the table. So yeah, it's an interesting part of the world, man. I'm so glad I came out here. Film those with glasses and never cut through a job. So I was going to come on to now. I've done reframing dating problems. Where is the issue? Who knows? It may not be where you think it is. It may not be where you think it is. It may not be your approach. Another one actually can be when's the last time you actually shagged? Because this is something that can start to affect you. Is you go too long, you start to become rigid. You start to become rigid. So sometimes you just need to get some points on the board. Um, I think like I don't know if I do think like I think it's I think we probably in the entourage should actually emphasize sex a little bit more. I know it's more about acquisition and self improvement. I do think probably a little bit more emphasis on actual sex is important because that's the thing that actually starts to propel you more in your approaches. When you're actually like quite loose, that can propel you more. So I think getting on the board is important. Like I could be wrong. I think if you're going up to like the absolute hottest of the hot, if you've not had sex for like 3 years, I think that is an inhibition. You'd probably be better off banging like a three first, just to get it out the way and then move on. Um, that was my experience being younger as well. It's like moving up the leagues almost to the really fit girls. It's like you start off on like six and she's on then to seven and then she's just seven, eight. It's like, oh yeah, now I can actually get a girlfriend here. Um, yeah, dry spell specialist. Yeah, like an astronaut. Yeah, but you've cracked the dry spell. But yeah, I won't talk about too much of the sex stuff on this live. Um, yeah, it would be good to have some type of a platform or something where I could talk about. There's stuff you can't really. I just can't go into on YouTube, to be honest. But I wonder if I can find something where we can just go no holes barred. This is the stuff that would just get me completely kicked off YouTube, but it's actually true. That's the fucked up part. It's the truth. Um, I wanted to, yeah, to come on now to uh, burnout, man. Cold approach burnout. Yeah, Rumble maybe Rumble. Um, Cold approach burnout. Uh, I think this is something only if you're a hardcore solo guy, yeah, there's a risk it can happen, man. There's a risk it can happen, especially on it's on top of work. So probably Richie, you're finding that at the moment. I think I've just hit a wall this week. I don't know if we'll see what happens on. Yeah, you burn out in 2011. Were you getting success in 2011? Um, but I've done now. I did a year up until June where I did 52 sessions at least. I probably did more like 100 um, through LATAM, and I don't even given how much I've done, I still don't think I'm that good, to be honest with you. But I can the fact I can do it at all means I'm automatically good because most people can't even do it. Um, you know what it is? It's just you know what it is actually. It's just you have in different territories. If things are going really well, you feel like you're amazing, and then you go to a different place and things are not going as well, and you feel like, oh, I got worse. But it's just the territory is different. Um, but yeah, the burnout factor. So I did all the way up till June, completely dominated the second half from November to June. Total domination, really. I mean, you can always be more, but like I'll give myself a solid 7 out of 10. Yeah, considering it's my first year of doing it. And then didn't take summer off, carried on in the summer, but slowed it down. And then started hitting it again when Richie started in September and I got into Belgrade. I was planning on having a spiritual retreat this year of like 1 year off. Fucking that hasn't happened, has it? I've just gone even harder. Probably because of you, Richie, to be honest with you. But no, because of me. But like seeing you, I was like, man, this looks fucking fun. Now we've got an engine room in the house. Now I can get on this engine, and this can help me perpetuate forward. Um, and then that got me going again. So yeah, then started to hit Bosnia as well. Hit Bosnia fucking hard, dude. Hit Bosnia really fucking hard. Bosnia was good, man. Bosnia was pretty good. Um, Hit fucking Istanbul. Um, and then yeah, hitting Macedonia as well. So that's like 5 extra months in the Balkans, and I would say the last three, you know, Sarajevo, Istanbul, and Skopje, they're not exactly like they're not exactly the cold approach central of the world. So solo as well. So I think I've hit a little bit of a burnout point. So part of me is like, yeah, should I just chill this weekend and not go out? I don't know. Um, I'm moving flats tomorrow, so yeah, you'll be getting some nicer videos coming through. The next flat I'm moving to is very aesthetic. Um, so what? Let's have a look at what Richie said. So did you get results here? So shagged a 47-year-old woman. How old would have you been then in 2010? God, you'd have been like mid-20s, right? If that, early 20s. Yeah, but you burnt out because which company did you go with? Was it that Richard Gambler's company? Um, yeah, but if you're going out, if yeah, 24. The problem is guys go out solo and they don't really know what they're doing. Um, it's easy once you just know what you're doing. Once you just know what you're doing, um, you've got to be right location, Um, have actually a good approach, nice, simple approach. Simple. Stop, compliment, chat, close. Sorry, stop, compliment, chat, make a plan, close. That's it. Stop, compliment, chat, make a plan, close. That's the only quote unquote game you need. That is a structure, but it's a fucking piss easy one. Or you could just go stop, close. You could actually do that as well. So you keep it really simple. But a lot of these guys are like, oh, you need to do all these flashy things and stuff. I find the compliment pretty much does it all. A woman basically within about a second of seeing you, she already knows if she sleep with you or not. Yeah, they're not. By the way, they're not that fussy. It can be just so he had a bit of a glint in his eye. Yeah, but for a lot of girls, like they're very highly sexed, right? Um, they're actually so highly sexed it actually would disturb men. The reason they hide it is because probably we can't really handle it. Um, so it's a weird fucking. Everyone's a con artist in this whole fucking world. They're pretending, the men are pretending. There's this whole fake fucking thing that's going on. It's just fucking weird, man. That's why LATAM for me is I like because there's none of that shit going on. People just blunt, man, like fun but blunt. Um, Gym attraction TV, something like that. Yeah. Oh, PUA training. Yeah, PUA training. Yeah, gambler stuff. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I did a workshop with him when I was 25. Um, I've always had like I think it's since reading the book The Game, I always had a bit of curiosity. It's like, could I actually improve in this? Even though the game actually made me worse, it still opened the portal of hold on, I could actually get better at this thing. Um, so I'm still grateful for the game, even though it actually made me worse. It still planted the seed that I could get better. And then I think I was yeah, I remember actually this was yeah, the PUA training thing. I remember going to one of those. It was like a few £100 or something just for a weekend in London. I really liked it. I really liked it. I thought the guys were really cool. And I remember my favorite part was the daytime part. Yeah. The guy said to me, he's like, "Oh, by the way, you can do this thing called direct, where you just go and you go pay a compliment straight away." I was like, well, "I'll try that then." And I always remember speaking to some girl from I don't know where she was from, but she went wild about the compliment, man. And this would have been like 15 years ago or something like that. Um, I just remember it being a fun weekend actually. Um, yeah, doing street approach and stuff like that. I think I saw where did I see? Probably saw him on YouTube, to be honest. Um, and then it was kind of like for me, it didn't. Then I think I would have kicked on from there actually, but then I had health problems for 2 years, and so I couldn't kick on from there. And then I just kind of like just got involved with more friends, to be honest, like actual wings who were doing well, and just releasing my own potential naturally as well. But always, every year I would always check in, like who is coming up now. There was a guy doing stuff in New York. He looked very smooth, and he was doing daytime in New York. An American guy. I think he's like married now. But every year I'd always check in, and I do think some of them are actually genuinely really good, to be honest. But I'd say probably I'm 80% developing with mates, and then maybe 20% stuff that I've seen. Uh, yeah, people look at each other in the gym or on the street, and then immediately look away as if they're a tourist. Typical fake BS dance. Yeah, this is it, isn't it? This is it. I mean, I do this a bit in the gym because it's like the gym. I really, honestly would just prefer to go to an empty or all male gym. Honestly, it sounds fucking weird, but I'm just like, I just don't want to see women in lycra when I'm covered in sweat, and I'm like, I'm already in this high testosterone autistic state. Yeah. Um, Paul Janker. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, yeah. And then yeah, old JA. Yeah. I mean, I think he's made his contribution as well, to be honest with you. I think it's a bit disappointing he's gone down this route of online, really emphasizing that, and then also there's all these flame wars and things with people on the internet. That's a bit of a disappointment. I'd like to just see him in field.
Just get yourself back in the field, mate, with your girlfriend and stuff, and show us how to do that. You've got this fucking hot girlfriend. I'm sure the stories are true. Like, they're pretty obviously true to me. So, like, show us what's it like to go and do an approach with your girlfriend. I'd fucking love to see that. I think they're focused on the wrong things. Um, the mystery stuff, yeah. I don't know about mystery, mate. To be honest with you, to me that whole escalation of like, you know, indirect stuff. It's not me, man. It's not me. I think it made me worse. I know it did. That's basically for nerds who are not good looking. If you're actually good looking and you're normal, you should not be using that stuff. And I've had girls say to me about other guys who I know were using mystery method. Why is he doing this weird shit? He's like getting palm reading me and stuff like that. And the guy's just fucking jacked. I always remember he's a jacked UK kickboxer, right? And he was a PhD student as well, probably overthinker. And she was like, he's fucking fit. What's he doing? And I was like, oh yeah, he's just running game. He thinks he's running game on you. And it's like, she already wants to fuck you. This is the thing that these idiots don't get. The girl already wants to either shag you or not within about 2 seconds. And they're not that fussy. So if you're pretty decent and you make a bold approach, there is some chance that she'll want to have sex with you. Um, Chechen guy. Yeah, insecurity. Yeah, it's insecurity. You know, it's a whole mixed bag, isn't it? Because there are some guys who should not be running quote unquote games. You shouldn't be. Like, it's just weird if you do. Like, if like, I don't know, like, you imagine like Brad Pitt or something walk in and then he starts doing palm readings on a girl or something. It's like, bruv, what are you doing? Just stand there and say, hey, what's up? And she's probably gonna have a squirting orgasm on that, you know. So it kind of doesn't make any sense. Um, I always advocate though for all of there's some good people online. I always advocate look at people in real life who you know or you've been around. Look at people who are actually good in the real world. Yeah, because the online stuff is a lot of it's a lot of overthinking, and a lot of the best guys in the real world they just don't really think, or they think in a certain. I'm wanting to introduce narcissism as well. I'm wanting to introduce much more narcissism. I'm thinking back when I was hitting it the hardest, the stuff that's going through my head. I'll start sharing it now because it's important. The stuff that was going through my head was just disgusting levels of narcissism, like ridiculously like levels of narcissism. Like literally, that girl is begging for me to talk to her. She's begging for me to talk to her. She she's gonna have such a shit night if she does not talk to me. Right? She's begging for it, yeah. That girl over there, her hair, the reason she's put it like that is because she wants me to look at her and then she wants me to pull it, when I'm fucking railing her against the bedpost or whatever. That was the type of stuff. Or then I'd like look in the club, I'd look at all the other guys, I'm like, look at these little fucking pussies, man. Get the fuck out of my way. This would be what's running in my head in nights, and it kind of still is, to be honest. But the interesting thing was, the more I ran that, the better I would do, and the crazier things would get. There's no, I think we're not narcissistic enough. We're not pushing this self love hard enough. We need to push this self love to the absolute moon. Yeah, that absolutely crazy mentality is they're all divas, they're all dirty, and they all want to get it. I think that's because it's true as well. It's actually true. Yeah. You might need to unlock a few things, but basically it's true. Um, so this narcissism, this self-love, this self-promotion, if you need to denigrate your enemies in the club, go ahead, do it. I do. I need to do that. No, I just enjoy it. I actually enjoy it. Yeah. Um, Again, there's too much of this psycho pathologizing stuff. Like people, oh, is that like you have a problem from childhood? My nephew is the same. He's 5. He's got a perfect life. Yeah, perfect parents, perfect life. He's exactly the same as me in his psychology. A lot of it's just genetic, man. He loves to compete. He loves to try and beat me. He loves to try like it's just really funny. He's got a lot of self love and all this type of thing. So um, yeah, but he's also quite sensitive as well. My nephew's very similar to me, actually. He's very similar to me. My brother said it as well. It's like it's weird having a son who reminds you of like your own brother. It's a weird thing for him. Um, so yeah, self love, and I think like the guys I know who overperform as well, because all the SMV stuff, like I radically disagree with the SMV stuff. I really, it's not even disagree. It's bullshit. I can say with authority it's bullshit because I've been around people whose SMV is at best a six. My mate from Colombia at best is a six. At best, yeah. He's not good looking at all. He's not muscular. He's maybe a little. He's 5'11", so that's his only thing that might be going for him. Um, he's not rich. I doubt he's. I know he would have never earned more than €2,500, €3,000 in a month. That would be when he's working two jobs. Yeah, his average is probably like 1,000. Yeah. Um, he's not from like, what is it? Is it money? Looks. He doesn't have status. Most people don't have status. Like, like president or something. And he's run through more hot women than most people I know. Than about 95%, not probably 99% of men. Like based on personality, crazy confident personality, Mr. Sociable, crazy confident personality. Does this mean that every chick that meets him wants to shag him? No. Does it mean that there are chicks who are just like, no, I want to have this type of guy who's got like tattoos or something, or a guy who's a supermodel? Yeah, there are girls like that, but most girls aren't. I don't know what percentage. Probably 70% are like quite open to like what's coming along. Um, yeah, he legitimately had like one of the fittest girls in the city back in the day, and he also cheated on her as well with the Russian mistress as well. So all that fucking shit. I mean, he was a monster, dude. The guy was a monster. The reason I always talk about him is because he illustrates this, because he's not good looking and he's not rich. If SMV were real, like, because you could say, oh, well, Joseph, you're fairly good looking, yeah, okay, fine, but he did better than me, yeah, and I'm definitely better looking than him for sure. Yeah, it's not difficult. So like it's the approach, man. It's the approach. It's the approach, and he did better than most. There was guys in our group who were on the periphery. There was one guy I always remember him. He was a lawyer. He'd been in the military. It's like probably about 6'1", good looking, fucking loaded. Drove like a nice fucking Mercedes, whatever. He was dating like a 45-year-old when he was about my age, maybe 37. He was dating like this woman who was like 50 or something. It was weird, dude. And then it's like there were girls in our group who were just like, that guy's weird, you know, because he had all the SMV points. Why is he with the ugliest? Like, why is his girlfriend is like busted, man? That's on him. And maybe whatever. He maybe had some issues. I don't know, but it's personality, man. Personality, force of character. The people who've advocated for SMV are people who have no personality. So they themselves have got no other means of understanding the world. Like, oh, if I just get a bit fit, yeah, bro, because you have no personality. Yeah, the reason you need money is because you have no personality. The reason you need look is you don't have a personality. Yeah, um, it obviously varies, but like it is overwhelmingly character. Another illustration of this being the DR last year. There's one guy, this fat fuck, Tweedledee, right? I think of him as Tweedledee, right? He's fat as fuck, yeah. Well, no, he's just chubby, like he's overweight, right? Um, I'm at this night. I'm with my girl. There's the fat guy. Then there's this guy who's like this hench boxer looking guy with like a very good looking face, right? And we all had hot girl. We were all with hot girls, right? And probably the guy with the hottest girl, it probably was the guy, the fat guy. Yeah, it probably was him, if I'm being honest. But the guy was an absolute G. Like he was an absolute G. He was 100% self-confident. 100%. Not 90%. 100%. Yeah. Like he was the center of the party. Um, he was just a dynamic guy. And I think he was doing all right for himself. Like, he was a hard-working guy as well. I think he was doing all right for himself, but he wasn't fucking rich. He wasn't rich. Yeah, and that girl he's with is fucking fit, dude. She's like my girl's like best friend, and she's fucking fit, really fit. Um, Again, that's just another illustration. That island of plastic bag Romeos. There's so many guys who are just fucking hilarious, and they're getting chicks, man. They're even getting the European girls that come in. And you see it when they come to Europe. Cuban guys are not, a lot of them are not good looking. They're just stout little black guys. There's always the pair. There's the tall mulatto guy who's fucking really good at dancing. He's the sex symbol. There's always the stout black guy with him as well. You occasionally get a white one as well, but mostly that's the combination. And yeah, they always do well, man. They always do well. Personality, fun, fun and frolics. And so that's the last thing I'm going to come on to here. Yeah, fun and frolics. That's what I've got noted down here. It's easier in some places than others, like Balkana life, like Macedonia life. January in Macedonia, it's not easy for the fun and frolics, I'll be honest. It's not. Um, but in general, that's the spirit we want to bring in. We want to bring in. It can be hard to do, like especially when you like work. That's probably a sign of overwork, to be honest. For me, like if I can't have fun, that's a sign actually I need to change something. I'm overworked. Fun and frolics, man. Cyndi Lauper said this to us, like, girls just want to have fun. Girls just want to have fun. Yeah. The number of guys who just get chicks because the girls want to have fun is endless, dude. It's endless. Especially the UK as well, because the girls have got enough money pretty much. They're all just like, they've got 3 grand in the bank account, and they've got their monthly wage, which they spend their everything down. That's how they're living. They're pretty much all right. They've got family around and stuff. They just basically just want to have fun. A lot of those girls, like, yeah, that's your biggest asset, especially as an English guy with girls in the UK, is fun. That's your biggest asset, especially with the younger girls as well. Um, yeah. So if you can even bring a little bit of that spirit in, I think it's good. I think it's good. Fun and frolics, especially with Latinas, though. My God, if you're with Latinas and African girls, like, you should be having fun. You should be. They're fun anyway, so it's easy. So we've done an hour there. If you are a man who struggles with your personal life, if you're a man who has no luck with the ladies, I hope this live has been useful. Now I can pretty much chill. What are you saying, boys? I've covered my topics there. Yeah, I planned this out. I'm planning these lives out, Yeah. Got 600 views on a video actually the other day, which I was quite pleased about because I did it at like 3 in the morning. I was completely exhausted. Just did it in the kitchen there, and it actually got quite a few views on it. It got very good comments as well. My favorite comment was, "You look like Kratos having chemotherapy in the best possible way." Was it Kraton or something? Kratos, the guy from God of War, but when he's having chemotherapy. So I'm still taking it as a compliment. Um, and then one guy was telling me one guy went down the bald route and stuff like that, and I was just like, mate, you know, I was like, if I actually respond to this guy, the only way I can really, I watched, he had a live on, and the only way I could really respond to him would be to say something that would probably shatter his confidence. But like, it's like, bro, it's obvious you're a virgin. Why are you giving me? He said if he goes, mate, if you get hair treatment, you'll get all the girls. I was like, dude, I'm looking at your channel. I'm going, you're obviously a virgin, yeah. It's obvious. You're telling me about, I'm not saying I'm the greatest, but I'm not a fucking virgin. Um, so we've got 8 viewers in here today. Can I see who's in here? Let's have a look here. Yeah, so, well, anyway, I'll be moving on tomorrow. I'll be moving on from this apartment tomorrow, moving across the city a little bit, getting around Skopje, my new home. Good little spot, very relaxing. Balkans is just a good place to come and just chill and just work and just get your head down, and not spend too much money. Basically, uh, you know, I think it's a good place for online workers actually because you don't want to be going somewhere where you're just hemorrhaging fucking 10 grand a month or something. Like it's just you want it to be very very solid and manageable. Ephraim was talking about reducing his costs to like his rent to 1,400 a month, and I was like, dude, you in here in Macedonia, I mean, you could fucking you could rent two apartments for that much. You could have one for you and one for your fucking wingman. um, yeah. So, boys, I will leave it there. Hopefully, this has been useful. I've got to go and pack my bags and get ready for tomorrow. So, peace, love. Josefsky, the Uber wing. If people are out on sessions tomorrow in the entourage, let me know. I don't know if I might take a break tomorrow, but I'm happy to provide encouragement and wingmanship. I may be on a mountain tomorrow. I may be doing it from a mountain. I think I'm gonna go up Mount Vodno tomorrow. Take a bit of time off the approach, man. My fucking brain is fried. So, peace and love. Josefsky. Laku noc.